Hello and welcome everyone to the class. My name is Audrey and right now we will be starting our conversation course, okay? Our conversation class. So it looks like we have Yura, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine, and you?
Great, nice to see you again today.
Nice to see you too. What's the topic today?
Today's topic is about the difference between rural and urban areas.
Oh my god.
Okay? Are you ready?
I'm not sure.
So
Okay.
that's going to be our topic. Be thinking about what you want to say. You can tell us a little bit about, as soon as we start our introductions, we'll talk a little bit about where we live currently, and we can talk about if that area is rural or urban and maybe what you prefer. Okay, so that's going
Okay.
to be our topic. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, it will be an interesting topic and we can learn a lot about other places. Okay, we have
Okay.
another student. Let's see. We have Ali Kemal. How are you? Are you with us? Okay, maybe your microphone is muted or you're having problems. Let us know. I'd like for you to be able to participate if you can. But I'll speak to everybody who's waiting to join. As I told our friend Yura here, our topic is about rural and urban areas, okay, and the differences between them. So as soon as everybody is able to join, we will have our introductions. You can tell us a little bit about your personal city, where you live, and we can learn about everybody's different areas. And we will go into a deeper discussion about what you think is best, if it's best to live in a rural or urban area, what are the advantages and disadvantages. So that will be our topic. Okay. Um,
Okay.
Still waiting.
Yes, I'm sorry. I can't as a simple sit down and look at Skype because constant position. I don't know. It's boring for me. I listen
Well,
music. I relax.
yes, well, hopefully here in just a few seconds, we'll get open. But Yura, how is your day going?
So, oh, Wanderson. Yes.
Okay, we've got some people coming in. Hi, Wonderson. Hi, Mina.
Hey, sorry, I was late.
No problem. Hi, nice to see you, Mina. How are you? Okay, very good. You might have had a little problem with your microphone, but we will go ahead and get started. It looks like we're about full, so welcome everyone to the class. And as I mentioned earlier, our topic today is about rural and urban areas. Okay, so we'll start out with just our simple introductions. Tell us your name, where you're from, and this time specifically your city. Okay, so tell us what your city is like, if it's rural or urban, and maybe what you like about it. So let's start first with we have Abdullah. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. And you?
Great, nice to see you. So tell us where you live and if it's in a rural area or an urban area.
Yes, I'm Abdullah from Egypt. I live in Menya, certainly in Bukurfos city. It's a urban area.
Okay, very good. So you live in an urban area. About how many people live in your city?
Mm, Unfortunately, we haven't a survey, but I expect more than 100,000.
Okay, okay,
I
so there's
think.
quite a few people. Okay, very good, very good. Next, let's go to Gassan. How are you?
Hi, Audrey. I'm fine, thank you.
Great, nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yes, I haven't, participated much in the classes, but I have watched some of your class and other class too. Anyway,
Okay, very good. So tell us, Gassan, about your city.
I'm from Baghdad, Iraq. It's a large city. I think it's the second in West Asia. So there is 7,200,000 person living in the city, and I'm living in the center of the city. So, if it's not there is no a day like Friday, which is there is no traffic. I could get in 15 or 20 minutes to the center of the city.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, so you're living in the city center of a very large urban area. So
Yes.
typically a lot of traffic, right?
Yes, normally there is, but not on Fridays, and sometimes even Saturdays are good because we have the Friday and the Saturday as weekend.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Next we'll go to Hamdi. How are you?
Yes, how are you, Audrey?
Great, nice to see you. Tell us where you're from and about your city.
I'm from Egypt. I'm living in Saudi, in Riyadh. This is a very huge city and very modern. Uh, it's very good city, wonderful city.
Okay, very good. So it's an urban area, but you like it a lot, right?
Yeah,
Okay, very good. Very good. Is there a lot of traffic there as well?
yeah, of course, yes.
Yeah, so that's just
During
one
the
of the
rush hour,
drawbacks of living in a big city, right?
yeah,
I think it's unavoidable.
yeah, especially during rush hours.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go next to Lucas. Nice to see you again this hour.
Hello,
Hi, tell us where you're from, Lucas.
I'm from Argentina.
Okay.
And
And what city?
I live in a big city, yes, of 40,000 people.
Okay, very good. So how would you classify that? Would you say that it's a rural area or an urban area?
Now I live in an urban,
Mm-hmm. Urban.
yes, in an urban area.
Okay, very good. And do you like it there?
Yes, sometimes it seems boring, but you can.
That would really help matters.
What? But you can with your friends you can do what you can spend the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. So sometimes there might not be as much to do, but if you have friends, then it's okay.
Yes.
So Mina, tell us about where you're from.
I'm from Egypt. The capital is Cairo, and it's the largest city in the Arab world and Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can tell us all about living in an urban area, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And tell us a little bit more about Cairo.
It's the population is 9 million. Um, there is a lot of sightseeing on the borders of Cairo, like the pyramids and what else? maybe a lot of modern sightseeing, not ancient. The ancient sightseeing is in Giza, and Giza is the neighbor beside Cairo.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's Cairo is a more modern city than maybe what you typically might think of when you think of Egypt, right?
Yes, yes, it's a capital.
Yes. Okay, very good, very good. Next we
One
have
correction. The
uh,
population of Cairo is 20 million. Huh?
20 million.
Yeah.
Oh wow, did you
Megapolis cities.
I think he
sorry.
Googled.
Oh, you Google it.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So 20 million, it's grown quite a bit.
Very crowded.
Okay, very good. Let's go to Salah. How are you, Salah?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Great. Tell us where you're from.
I'm from Morocco and live in Spain. I live in an urban area. My where I live, it's on the north of Africa. It's a small city called Melilla. It's situated on the north of Africa. I like it because it's a quiet and a small city.
Okay, very good.
There are maybe 70,000 people.
Okay, so I think that's a good size, not too big.
Not so big.
Okay, very good. Let's go next to Ten. How are you?
Great. How about you?
Good as well. So tell us where you're from.
I'm 10. I'm from Vietnam, and I live in a city like just below central of Vietnam, and it is a beach city, but it's like Oro next to the beach.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it can be nice looking. You can have a place to relax next to the beach, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And what is your city called?
Nha Trang.
Okay, great. Next we'll go to Wonderson. Tell us about your city.
Yes, hi. My city is rural. It's in the countryside.
Okay, how is it like?
It's very peaceful. I like it.
Have you ever lived in an urban area before?
Yes, I am new here. I lived in very close to São Paulo.
Okay, so it's quite a change moving to this small city.
Yes, it was very stressful, so I decided to move to a more peaceful place.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the peace and quiet.
Yeah.
And we will go next to Yura.
Hi, I'm Yuri from Russia. I live in a small town. It's called Mtsensk, about 50,000 people. I have experience in living in a big city, Moscow, St. Petersburg, Kiev, and that's all.
Okay, very good. So now you're living in a smaller city, but you have
Yes.
lived before in a larger city.
Yes, but in this small city we have several factories and small problem with traffic, and it's very peaceful and beautiful place. No, thank you.
Okay, very good, very good. So I think, has everybody had the chance to introduce themselves? I think so. So I will ask you, let's talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages to both rural areas and urban areas. We'll start with rural. So what are some advantages to living in a rural area? And anybody can answer.
It's healthier.
Okay, why is it healthier? What do you mean?
The food, the air, fresh air.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, it could be healthier.
You can
Anything else?
There is no pollution.
yes.
Right, no pollution. I think that could be healthier as well.
Not crowded.
Okay.
Less crowded. Lucas, did you want to say something?
Yes, well, yes, there you can produce your own food, and it's a peaceful place to live.
Yeah, you can even farm if you want, if you're feeling adventurous.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so you can produce your own food. It's quiet and peaceful. Anything else?
It's not as dangerous as living in big city.
So maybe about crime. There's less crime.
And accident. And
traffic.
Yes,
traffic.
yes.
Yes, the traffic.
And it's not noisy as urban area.
It could be quieter. That's good. Anything else?
Maybe it's sorry. Go.
No, go
No,
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead. No problem. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Maybe the rural area is more, more ignored by the government. It's not, they don't, take care of it like the largest cities. So many advanced technology just exists in the main cities.
And do you think do you think that that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Bad thing because people came from this area to the urban area, like the capital. So it become more crowded.
Okay, yeah. So what are some other disadvantages? We talked about the advantages. What are some other disadvantages to living in rural areas?
I guess surfaces like
Go ahead, Hamdi. Go ahead, Hamdi.
Yeah, I think the disadvantage is something about surfaces. The surfaces in the small cities and rural area, it is very bad and weak. Like medical surfaces, like school, like government services. It's very bad, not like the big cities.
Yeah, so it can be harder to get different services. Okay, that's a good point.
It really depends, because some big city has incredible traffic congestions, and a safety car with your medicine, with your doctor can a road from hospital to home can take about 2 hours, for example. It's possible in big city.
Yeah, so that could even be a difficult thing in big cities to.
The surface exists. This is in the cities. The surfaces exist, but in the countryside, the surface doesn't exist.
Yeah, so and it depends on where you're talking. If you mean way out in the countryside, then maybe there are no options for these kind of services, or maybe your options could be very limited.
Maybe it's only downtown, for example. And in downtown you have a good environment around you, but it's countryside really. But it depends. Several countries have not a very good environment in countrysides. Other would have a perfect environment in countrysides. Hospitals, police station, and others, and post office. It depends on country. It depends on people who live in these areas.
Okay. Any other disadvantages to living in rural areas?
I think.
Go ahead, Gassan, and then we'll go to Wonderson.
Yes, I think that's probably the biggest problem in rural areas is that everybody's nose is in your business. Everybody, watching you, whatever you do. If even small things, they notice it. So that's probably the worst thing, and everybody, paying attention and giving their opinion about whatever you do.
Yeah.
Why are you worried about it?
Okay, what do you think, Gassan? Why would you worry about that?
It's not about worrying about privacy. You need your privacy. It's even if you eating, for example, you're eating fish today. They ask, "Oh, why are you eating fish?" Because they see it and they have nothing else to do. They are bored, so they probably trying to make anything amusing for them, even probably trying to make problems. That happens in. I'm not saying that this is the culture for every person in rural areas, but that's the normal things for many of them, that they actually seeing things that normally we don't see in the cities.
But you can leave your house and don't close your door and be sure that nobody can't make something bad with your house, because your neighborhood very safely. Your neighbors see your neighbors try to understand what happens around you, and it's very safe. Safety it's can be a good point, really. If you have a children, especially, you can let him play in your backyard, and don't worry about him, because your neighbor can help you, and it's very good point. But I'm not sure that your neighbor tried to look to a dish and try to understand why you don't eat fish. Maybe it's only daily talk. It's only small talk for all.
Sorry, I don't want to argue, but I think the question was the disadvantage. So I said the disadvantage. Now you're saying the advantages of the rural. I think
Okay,
that wasn't the question. It was the disadvantage. So if Audrey asked for advantage, maybe I say the same thing you said or something else.
Sorry.
Right, and no problem. It's okay to debate, because that's good. We're just getting some good English practice.
Could be Gassan is afraid of invade.
Sorry?
I didn't understand that.
Yeah, could be you're afraid of invade.
Did you understood that, Audrey? I can't understand it.
I'm not sure. Are you saying that maybe he doesn't want
Envy.
Oh, envy.
Vision.
You say I envy the rural places, the people who live there. Well, I'm not sure. Maybe I envy, if the people in the city as much, because they have some good things, and the people in the rural places, they have some good things. So everybody has it, but I'm not sure we could call that envy. This is too general.
Yeah, so it depends. Maybe if you really like the piece, for example, Gassan, the point that you had brought up was something that I didn't really think about, but I think it is a good point that when you live in a small area, in a rural town, sometimes it's very easy for your information to spread to everybody. So maybe your example of what you eat every day, it's true. Maybe people notice things that you do.
Yeah. If you let me, I just want to clarify, I'm not against the rural, because it looks like others students think I'm against it. No, if I was able financially, I was going to have a place in a rural area for 6 months, and another place in the city for 6 months, to enjoy both of them. So I'm not against rural or anything like that.
Yeah, and it's okay, because we're just describing the advantages and disadvantages of both. Okay, so yeah, very good. Let's go next to Wanderson. You wanted to say something. I hope you didn't forget yet.
Yeah, I almost forgot, but I remembered.
You can say?
So
Okay,
I
so tell
wanted
us.
to say, yeah, two advantages that I remembered that the people have a better quality of life. Their lives are ha- have more quality, and also they get along well with other people. The relationship is more closer. I think it's
Okay, yeah, so that could be advantages as
yeah,
well.
and
Maybe
advantage.
like what Yura was saying, that you know your neighbors, you get along with your neighbors, could be advantages to living in a rural area.
However, there are a lot of gossips here that spread. I agree that information here spreads faster in
Mm-hmm.
rural areas.
Mm-hmm.
I,
And you said,
I,
Wonderson, that you had just moved to that area. Have you experienced
yeah,
gossip already?
yeah. Some gossips, yes. Even in the neighbor city, even people from the neighbor city know something about me.
Yeah, so
Spread
it's
faster.
true. It's true. Information does spread faster in smaller communities. Okay, so
Yeah, and
could be a disadvantage.
can I say another?
Sure.
Job offers, the opportunity to get a job is it's more difficult to get a job here.
Right. It's definitely harder to get a job in rural areas because there aren't as many opportunities. Okay, very good. Other disadvantages. Can anybody think of other disadvantages to living in rural areas?
Maybe it's more boring place without clubs, cinemas, theaters.
Yeah, it could be more boring. Okay. What else?
But it's depend
Transportation, for example.
Can you repeat, Salah?
Transportation, for example.
Yes, transportation could be very
Less
difficult.
bus.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Anything else, Lucas?
Yes. Well,
Or
it's a boring or not place. It's depend on your personality. Maybe you are a quiet person and you like quiet places to live.
Mm-hmm. So it's up to the person. Sometimes
Yes.
it could be nice to be around nature, and maybe you're not interested so much in the activities of the city.
Yes, but I think there are more disadvantages.
I'm sure
Okay?
maybe after 40 years I prefer sit down on my chair in garden with fresh newspaper. Maybe not fresh, maybe weekly newspaper, and it will be perfect. But now sometimes I want to see fresh film in my cinema.
Mm-hmm. So maybe when you're younger, the city life can be more interesting.
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, very good. Lucas, did you have another disadvantage of living in rural areas?
Um, yeah, I think you can get help from anybody if you are in danger. You are isolated that place, and maybe you don't have security, you don't, or people live far away. So if you have a problem, you don't get help.
Right, so that could be similar to what Hamdi was saying earlier, that you have less access to services. And I think
Yes.
that's true that, go ahead, Lucas, were you going to
Yeah,
say?
well, here in my town, there was a case in which a man died, and he lived in the countryside, but he didn't have relatives. So when he died, and many months later, some people found him, but maybe he felt ill, and nobody could help him, and he died because and he didn't have a telephone or any communication. So, well, many months later, he was found died, for example.
Right, exactly. So it could be dangerous also to live in isolation.
Yes.
Okay, very good point. Any other disadvantages? Can anybody think of any other disadvantages to living in a rural area?
Don't know.
Okay, let's move to
can't find,
advantages. Have we talked about the advantages yet? I don't think so. What are the advantages to living in a rural area?
living
for me,
between the greens area, fresh water, fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
You can wake up early and also sleep early. No risks will disrupt your life when you live there in rural area.
Right. Okay.
You can keep your health go better when you live there.
Right. Better health. Okay. Gassan, did you want to add something?
yes, I wanted to say, depend on what country or what area you live, the landscape could be, a beautiful add to your life. Mountain, probably lakes or jungles, forests. Those are beautiful if you live in a beautiful country. So that could be an add. But in some other countries, for example, in West Asia or North Africa, it's not an ad because the landscape is normally desert and hot, and so it's not it can't be an ad. But in some areas, in some other countries, in Europe, America, South America, even South Asia, the landscape could be a big ad and very nice extra thing in your life.
Right. So maybe the landscape, the nature could be a plus. You could say a plus to living in the rural
Yes.
countryside. Okay. Anything else?
Yes, there is no distinction between social classes.
Okay. You think? Tell us a little bit more about that. What you think?
No distinction between social classes. No distinction between people. They are living in the same level, the same level.
Okay, yes. So
Social
maybe
level.
people could be treated more equally in
Mm.
rural areas. There's less distinction between the social classes.
Mm.
Okay, that's a good one and very interesting. Does anybody want to comment on that? Do you agree that in rural areas there's less distinction between the classes?
And we can see in the streets, for example, the beggar, asking,
Beggars.
beggars asking for help or asking for money.
Okay, yeah, so that's a good point. Any other comments? Okay, so let's talk about the.
Sorry?
Oh, go ahead.
Also, there is less crime, for example. Less
Right,
crime
could be less crime. Okay, very good, very good. So let's talk about the urban areas now. What are some advantages to living in an urban area?
People are near to to a lot of services, for example.
Right. So what was a disadvantage in rural areas would be an advantage in urban areas. You have more access to services.
Proximity to.
Okay, what else?
Shops, clubs, theaters, schools, safe, medical service, maybe internet and other communication. Maybe if you communicate with your neighborhood, it's a good place. It's very good too. You can speak with other people. And fresh newspaper, good fresh food, fresh bread. Mobile phone. It's working in cities sometimes. And that's all. And so, now I live in a small town, and really I miss about feeling when you wake up and stand on your window, open it, and fresh and noise of big city, and maybe it's 4 a.m. and all of city on your hand, and it's really beautiful and noise of from big city. It's perfect, really.
Okay, yeah, and so some people like the noise of the big cities. They like the constant action. Okay,
No,
so that could be. Go ahead.
It's not constantly. Only when you wake up and it's perfect. It's really perfect.
Okay, very good. Any other advantages? What are some other advantages to living in the city?
Living in urban area give people opportunities to have more cultural activities. For example, going to cinema, theater, library.
Yeah, so they have opportunities to participate in these cultural activities. Okay, very good. What else?
More close to the big companies, living more close to big companies, got good opportunities for to have a job. Also to exchange your experience and with other people, with stranger people.
Okay, yeah, so you're living closer to the big companies, getting more experience with socializing and interacting. Very good.
Ladies first.
Also, people. Sorry.
Go ahead, Sala.
People have a lot of means of transport to move, for example.
Yes, we have public transportation in the big cities. That's a good point. Okay, Yura, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And for you, available a lot of hobbies. You can find people with similar hobbies. You can communicate with him. For example, for me, I visit English club, speaking club, but it's I live in small town, and for using this opportunity, I travel 50 kilometers by bus in another town. But in big city, it's available for you. It's very good.
Yeah, so a small town might prevent you from being close to people with similar interests. So that's a very good point.
For example, tango club. Why not?
Yeah, sure. Okay, good. Anything else? Advantages to living in a big city?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And I think related to to culture. People from cities have more opportunity to learn more about culture, like museums, theaters. They have more access to culture and things from the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Yes,
that's a good point. Go
and
ahead,
you can
Yura.
take part in this event. You can play in theater. You can paint or draw some picture and go to uh, a gallery and say, "Oh, it's my picture." Or please on the wall. Why not?
Right, right. So maybe instead of, or you can look at art, you can participate in museums, but
You can
you can
you can
also,
go outside scene.
right, sightseeing.
I see. Yes.
Okay. Anything else? Any other advantages you can think of?
In employment has more possibilities to apply for a job. Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. Possibilities to apply for jobs.
And
Anything
it is
else?
a good opportunity to travel because usually in big cities there is airports and you can travel to other country. It's very good. But while
Mm-hmm.
you from your countryside moving to big cities and another big city with airport and after then only to plane, it's very big travel. But why not? If it's available for you, maybe you start traveling every month. Why not?
Okay, yeah. So more access to transportation, even to travel outside of the city and outside of the country.
And it is very good for your children. If you're not living in a project and in New York, if you are living in a good place, in good I don't know how to call it, in good neighborhood, it's uh, it's very good opportunity for children to communicate with a lot of different people. It's very good for children. They will be more polite. They start. It's very good opportunity um, for increasing. I think increasing. Yes. When you up something, it's increasing. Yes.
Uh-huh.
When
To
you
increase.
to improve some skills for children, communicate. Um, I don't know, arts, singer. Maybe it's possible in big city. Why not? A lot of teachers. It's very
Okay,
good.
yeah. So let's think about children. You had just mentioned a lot of things that were positives for children growing up in big cities. So everybody in the class, think about what do you think is best? Do you think it's best for children to grow up in a rural area or in a big city, and
In a
why?
rural area,
Okay, why do you say that?
because it's safer than living in urban rural area. It's safer than urban, and for children, because in urban area there are there are lots of crime, so
Mm-hmm.
it's better to live in a quiet or small city for them, because
Okay,
there are a lot of delinquents, no?
delinquents.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, good point. Anybody else have an opinion? What do you think is best for children?
Now in Russia we have a very popular movement, social movement. It's called downshifting. When not very rich, but sometimes it's really very rich family with children uh, abandon big city and begin live in countryside without any without phones, any services. It's really very very big countryside. It's not a very good place for the children, but they live there. They teach. Mother, for example, teach her children math, languages, and other. Father try to work in internet, or if they're really rich, they don't work. They try to grow um, and grow pets. I'm not sure that it is pets. It's animal for eating. How it's called?
Yeah, pets? Yeah.
Pets? Possible
Mm-hmm.
pets. I think pets it's only cat and dogs.
Oh, so you mean to raise animals to eat?
Yes, yes.
Right. So
They
you could say livestock.
okay, livestock, and they try to survive in this place, and it's very beautiful. But I think mm, it's not very good for children. Really, children must communicate with other children. If
Okay,
they
so what
if
do
they
you think?
alone, sorry.
I was going to ask the rest of the class, what do you think about this idea of people moving out of the cities and into countries and maybe isolating their children a little bit, teaching them themselves? Do you think that that is a good idea?
Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, I was just asking about the idea that Yura had described, taking your children out of the cities, out of the big cities, and choosing to raise them in rural areas. Maybe teaching them yourself and growing your own food and kind of separating them from society.
I think it's very bad idea.
Okay, why do you say
Yeah, the
that, Handy?
children must communicate with other children, must play, live his childhood with the same children, the same age. But living in a rural area, it is also there is a group of children also, but you know the culture is limited. It's completely different than the big cities. The big cities there is a cultural exchange between many different culture. Could be also many different nationalities. It's more useful for children.
Okay, yeah, so they can be exposed to different things. Anybody else want to give your opinion? What do you think is best for children?
I think the city is the best for children. So, you know, some of the friends here say, "Oh, it's safer." I don't think it's safer. You know, for example, if you go and you know close the door on yourself in your home, probably you are safer. But that's not really safe because you actually imprison yourself. So safety is relative. Of course, if you are alone somewhere in rural place, you are safer considering other people, you know, or criminal people are not around you. But that's not the solution. That's, you know, that's escaping from the reality. So the reality is the city, if it's a nice town, nice city, good neighborhood, the best, not just for the children, but for everybody else, not just because there is services, but because there is people to meet. And when you are in the city, you always have the opportunity to, you know, to go and visit the rural areas and have that ability to, especially in countries like US, for example, the cities or the towns are basically are like parks. So you, when you live in even a large city in US, you basically around you is all green and all like, you know, lawns and grass and trees, and you basically living in the city in the same time you are in a rural place, rural, you know, almost rural place. So I think the city is better for everyone.
Okay, yeah. Very good points. And I was going to ask Sala, because you said that rural would be better children. What would you say to Gassan? Do you still think that rural is better?
Yes, but not not to make children isolated to other children and make them selfish and no sociable.
Right.
Living
So what you were
Yes,
mentioning was different from what Yura had said. When you said rural,
uh,
you
yes,
didn't mean completely isolated, right?
yes.
yes, it was very extreme example.
Right.
Um, yes, maybe something middle. It will be better. Downtown near Chicago, for example. Why not?
Okay, could be, could be. Any other comments? What do you think?
I can give you another pattern from especially Moscow families. They can, I don't know, not sell. They can give for rent their flat. It may cost about $1,000 per month, $1,000, and they move to India or Thailand and have a big fun with children. 1,000 in India, it's very good. Uh, Money, and they live in countryside near ocean. The children have a good English school, but of course it's India. Uh, it's not the best place in the world. But Russian winter it's not the best season in Moscow. It
Mm-hmm.
yes, and especially they try to rent the flat from, for example, October to May on winter season, and they live this season in India. Their children have a good education, and it's very good. I think. Why not?
Okay, very good. So they come back to maybe study,
Yes,
but they'll leave to the countryside for the rest of the summer.
yes, and their children learn a lot of languages because it's maybe not only India, it's another country too. It's very good opportunity for children to saw all the world. But
Okay, yeah.
unfortunately, I don't have flat in the center of Moscow. Really.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. So that could be a good option as well. Maybe staying in the city for the school time so that the children can have access to a good education and going and relaxing in the countryside when they're out on break. And you can imagine that not everybody can afford to do such a thing, right? So that might be your ideal situation, but it may cost a lot of money to have two homes, in one in the countryside and one in the city. Okay. Any other comments about children? What's best for the children?
I think the good family is the best for children. It's not very important countryside or city. So
Okay, so yes, after all that, we could say maybe the family is the most important. Okay, good.
I guess healthy food is also important for children, so they grow up
Mm-hmm.
well.
Okay, very good, very good. And we have, is Jarno?
Okay, I introduce myself. I'm
Okay,
Jarno. I'm from Finland. Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you. Okay, Jarno. So yeah, and what did you say about, what was your comment?
I said the healthy food is important for children, so they
Right.
eat well.
Okay.
sorry. One comment. Please describe your countryside, because countryside in Finland it's not as similar as countrysides in Russia. In other countries, in the United States too, because countryside in Finland it's very comfortable. It's perfect place for life. Really, it's the most perfect place for life in the world. Sorry.
Okay, so do you agree with that, Yarno? Do you think that your country is the most perfect in the world?
Uh, Thanks for a very nice comment. Mm, yeah, I don't know. Finland is a nice country, but, and of course, countryside here is different because I think Finland is countryside. So we don't have big cities here in Finland. We are small
Helsinki.
country.
Okay, very good. And in what city do you live, Yarno?
I live in a little village. Only 5,000 people live here.
Okay, very
So
good. So it's
it's
very
so small.
small.
Yeah.
Good. And we've been just talking about the differences between rural and urban life. And I think that is interesting because, as Yura had pointed out, it depends on the country how your countryside is. You know, maybe in Finland there's more access to services in the countryside because the whole country is countryside.
Yes, and in Finland, I'm sure they have perfect nature. They have hospital in their town. They have police station. Yes, I'm not mistaken. Yes, sorry.
Yes, you are right. Yeah, you are right.
Yes,
Yeah.
they have perfect school. In their school, children learn English. In Finland, students speak on perfect English, really. They have maybe not good opportunity for job. I'm not sure. It's different by town in Finland, but maybe they have perfect lake near the town. It's possible because in Finland a lot of lake, or maybe it's oh, I'm sorry, senior this town. It's perfect country. Thank you.
Okay, maybe you should go move to Finland, Yura.
I don't have why. I don't have a visa. Sorry.
It sounds nice. Though. Okay, very good, very good.
A lot of Russian from St. Petersburg moved to Finland and bought their product because Finland product can't comparison with Russian products. It's other level of quality.
Oh, well, very good, very good. So it was nice to learn a little bit more about Finland in a very positive light. So I'm glad you have a positive outlook on this country. I wanted to end the class a little bit because we only have a few minutes left. I wanted to go back to the point that Sala made earlier. Sala, you had said that in the cities, it's more clear, there's a more clear social divide, right? So
Yes,
you can,
yes.
the classes are
Distinction.
divided.
Yes.
Okay, so does anybody want to comment on that in the cities? There's a more divide as far as the classes. Okay, what do you think? Do you agree?
Well, I think, for example, if we get the US as an example, there is rural areas for rich people and there is rural areas for poor people. For example, if you're living in rural areas in Massachusetts, near Boston or in Connecticut, the chances you are a rich person or wealthy person is a lot. But if you are living in a rural area in maybe in Georgia, the chances that you are not rich and you are a normal person. So I think even in rural areas, at least in some countries, it could be different villages and different rural areas for different kind of people and different class of people.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and you make a very good point about the US, and you're correct that maybe in the northern states, living in rural areas, you might find people who have more wealth, and as you go further down south, especially in the deep south, you'll find that the rural areas are typically lower income people, or you'll find the poor people living in the rural areas. Okay, and that's a good point. Sala, did you want to add something?
We also find a lot of digger on the streets asking for help, and also a lot of kids, for example, crying.
Yeah, so you'll see in the big cities beggars on the streets, and also kids, maybe homeless kids or
Thieves.
orphans. Oh,
Thieves.
sorry? Thieves.
Thieves.
Okay. Okay, I thought you had said kids. But thieves, yes, you can see thieves on the streets as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. Any other comments about the difference in the classes in rural or urban areas? Anybody else want to add something to that?
We also find people who are working and people who are employment.
Okay, in the cities?
In the cities, in the big cities, we also a big, I don't know, big,
okay.
a big.
Yeah, so there could be different people who are employed or unemployed. Go ahead.
Proportions or
Oh,
percentage.
of unemployment?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so there could be high unemployment.
Yes.
How do you think that compares to that in rural areas? Do you think there's less unemployment or more unemployment in rural areas?
Maybe less, because there aren't a lot of people.
Okay, yeah, so it could be. Or, yeah, so does anybody else think maybe differently?
Well, I think, the unemployment depends on where you live, which country where you live, because or even your state or your town or your your village. So in some areas there is unemployment in the city, in some areas unemployment in the villages, and we should remember that in the harvest or in the farming season, normally the villages there's no unemployment, but the same people are all employed and have and doing nothing in the other season in villages. So even the people who work in villages and they think they have a job, they actually have a part-time job or seasonal job. So I think it's more complicated. It depends on.
You've been muted. Can you unmute yourself?
That's what you are doing.
Okay,
yeah. Lucas. Yeah.
I think that's a good point. So employment works a little bit differently maybe in rural areas and in urban areas.
And might be a good topic for other class that what do you think if government support unemployment, is it good or is it not very good? Because some employers, people who have a very good support from government don't want work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very controversial topic, is should the government be paying unemployed workers? And maybe that is a good topic. I might make a class on it, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, very good. So we are out of time. I want to thank you all for being in the class and participating. Hope to see you in future classes and have a wonderful day, okay?
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you too, teacher.
Everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.